Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. Yes, we've already carried on, or officially started our best of the year, but we're still reviewing stuff. We've got Gargoyles to review today. This is one of those, I'm sure there's people who've seen TV shows with these characters in. I have not. I have no idea who the Gargoyles are. I don't have any real recollection of them. I imagine it was a Saturday morning cartoon that appeared, and I wasn't watching Saturday morning cartoons. Don't get me wrong, as a kid I used to Saturday morning cartoons, but this one totally passed me by. And unfortunately, I think it's put me into one of two camps, both of which are going to be annoyed by this comic book, and it's frustrating. But it's a good example to use about why it's kind of hard to write issue ones of comic books sometimes. But it also shows just an absolute waste of talent and a very frustrating way of starting a series. To start with, I'm going to talk about things I like about it, because there is some genuinely cool moments in this comic book. Give me a second to get to the credits page so I can give these people the absolute credit they deserve. Greg Weisman on writing duty and George Cambadias, I believe that's how it's pronounced, are on the art duties. And both of them are good at what they do. The writing is as good as I think it's allowed to be in this format. The character dialogue is good. It actually has characterization to the people without necessarily having to tell you about it, which is nice. I always enjoy that. And there's some genuinely funny moments in it. Some nice little jokes, even like a reference to Batman, which is kind of cool. And the Gargoyles not knowing who Batman was, but wanting them to come and help out the Gargoyles. It's funny. It's Saturday morning cartoon funny. But that's fine. That's exactly what it's trying to be. I can't blame it for aiming to do something and succeeding. And the artwork is surprisingly amazing too. There's some really nice action sequences, but what really gets me is the colouring. There's some really nice moments when you see like lens flare and water effects and lighting effects, and the colouring for those is absolutely amazing. It really does add like depth and layers to what's going on. Throw that as well, the fact that the colouring overall is just genuinely good. There's some nice moments where they choose to do character outlines in white instead of black, and that surprised me how much I like that. I've seen it happen before and not been a huge fan of it. But it works. It fits in with everything else they're doing here. This is like especially a story of like a nighttime and darkness, and using that means you're more likely to think of artificial light shining on something and seeing. I mean, you can see on my head right now the white lights of the outline for it. It's good. The page layouts are good. I mean, this is the one thing where they're okay. They have some a little bit of fun with it. They tend to veer away from traditional multi-grid layouts. They have some nice bits where panels bleed into each other for action sequences, and the action sequences are good. Like there's a car chase earlier on, and it adds a lot to like the impact of like this is going to be an exciting story. And then you get this gang war going on, and that's cool. There's a building on fire. But now we're going to get to the part of the story where, well, part of the review, should I say, where it's not great, because what they're doing is having to tell me, who's never watched an episode of Gargoyles, who all these characters are. And when I say who all these characters are, there's a lot. I can only assume that Gargoyles ran for quite some time, and rather than going for an evergreen kind of nature where there would just be the X number of characters who are Gargoyles and going to do their thing, think like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they keep introducing new characters, and the bad guys like have this thing where they can create gargoyle kind of monsters, mutates, I think they're called, and there's a whole host of things with like robots and cyborgs, and like this familial and romantic relationship to cross over. One particularly interesting bit was the main female lead, the detective. He's in a romantic relationship with the lead gargoyle, who has a daughter who is like a sister to the detective woman, and yeah. All of this makes me think that it'd be really cool if I already knew what all these relationships were and didn't need it explaining to me. But I'd also can't help but think that if I had seen every single episode of the Gargoyles TV show and maybe read other books and comic books if they've existed before, I don't know, this would be completely unnecessary for me, and I could have just got on with the story. Not knowing it, I still just wanted to get on with the story. There's some interesting little beats. There's nothing particularly complicated about the story. It's a gang war kind of thing where the power vacuum's turned up and there's people doing things, and there's an overarching bad guy, which is a scientist who's going to mess with somebody's mutagen child with an underground gang, underground organization going on. It's complex, don't get me wrong, in terms of the relationships everyone has, but the plot doesn't feel overly complicated. But that's, again, it's fine. It's based on a kid's cartoon. Have fun with it. You don't need to do really dark, that kind of things. But because of all these things that were introduced over the course of what I imagine would be several years of cartoons, they feel like they've had to spend the time doing all of this intro work and all this exposition. And at one point, there's literally a character doing the exposition, telling you that it's all really complicated, but don't worry about it. You don't need to know anything like it right now. And I read that and thought, yeah, I'd be happy if like the character had said that on page 5, and then we just got on with the story. Because the art and the writing could have done something fun with it, and I'm hoping that if you are a Gargoyles fan, you're just going to put up with issue 1, and the rest of it is going to be better. That's all I can hope for you. Because not as a fan, I got bored of it, and it's frustrating because it could have been better. That's it from me for today, though. Keep an eye out for all other reviews and best of year coming out. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, whatever. Tell friends about it, and support your local comic book shop. If you're watching this and you want to try out something that I'm talking about, go to your local comic book store, tell them you want it, and they'll try their best to get it for you. But until I see you again, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.